I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. As we can all see, we have almost a brand new board. But before I welcome our newest board members, I would like to thank the two previous members that just left our board. We had Jerry Heavey on the board for 3 years. She came to the board during COVID. It wasn't an easy time. She really, sat on the board all through the global pandemic, and I'd just like to thank her for her service to the town of Newbury. I'd also like to thank J.R. Colby for his service on the board. He's been on the board for 8 years, I believe, 8 or 9 years. And he's led the board. He was chair for a while, and under his leadership, we got a new police station. He was really the driving force behind that. The ClearGov that we see, the transparency in our website, that was him. He drove that, and he drove a lot of the fiscal policies. He was a big part of turning the town around from negative free cash to where we are today. So I'd like to thank him for his service. And then I'd like to welcome Leslie Matthews. She comes to us from the planning board. Congratulations, Leslie.
Thank you.
And looking forward to all the expertise and knowledge that you can bring to us from the planning board. And I know you will, and thank you so much. And Bill DeMayo comes to us from the Council on Aging. He was also the Veterans Grave Officer, and I think he served one more role.
That's about it.
That's about it. Yeah, so he comes to us as the chair of the Council on Aging. So it's my hope that you'll bring to us expertise that comes to the aging population. As we all know, we have a declining enrollment. The seniors are really the largest part of our community, and I'm really pleased that we have a seat or a voice for them sitting on the board. So that's that. And first on the agenda is public comment. So to receive oral communications from members of the public. Members of the public may address the Select Board for up to 3 minutes. The Select Board shall not engage in discussion on topics raised during public comment, but may choose to add the topic to a future agenda. This agenda segment will be limited to 15 minutes. Do we have any public comment? Mike, come on up. Yeah, because you know why? They can hear you on TV. Don't fall.
Hi, everyone. I'm here.
Name and address.
Okay, Mike Doyle, 6 Logan Ave, Newbury. I'm here about my concern about the parking at the center. Last year was a nightmare. I went down quite frequently, and since we got rid of the parking clerk that we had, that the Newbury Police, they do a good job. They come down, okay, and they clean out, but people come right back. If you have a clerk there, you don't have that. So I've been down 4 times this year, and during the week, not weekends, and all the times it's filled with out-of-town cars. So I'm just asking the board, with the help of the chief, if we can restore that position sometime, I would appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Good luck to everyone.
Thanks. Is there any more public comment? Come on up, Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve Manchin on 14th Street, and good luck to all the previous and current new members. I'm here to talk about an item I noticed on the agenda about going to a part-time shared position for the conservation agent, sharing with the town of Merrimack. I wouldn't have known about it at all, except there was a message or a little note on the agenda, and then I had a long talk with our conservation agent as well. I'm against it. I think we need a full-time conservation agent This town is all about the environment, and certainly Plum Island is an area of critical environmental concern. There are a lot of things that are happening out there on, starting Thursday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when everyone goes home, and there needs to be someone that you can try and call. I don't think it's a good idea to go to 25 hours. I also don't think it's a good idea to say, well, let's try it and we'll see. If you do that, you need to have measurable, quantifiable statistics that you're going to measure against to see how well it's working out. My recommendation for tonight is that you either vote it down or table it so there can be more discussion during tonight's meeting, for instance, about the merits of reducing the conservation agent's hours. And I had a conversation with Sam about this, so she's well aware of it.
Okay,
So please vote it down.
thank you. Hi,
Fred Thurlow, 26 Marsh Avenue. I know everybody can hear me because I know I got a loud voice, sorry. My concern is, Bob Connors says that the town hall is infested, the old town hall is infested with rats and mice. And if that's the case, why haven't we done something about it? We don't seem to be taking care of town property. We could very easily identify where those animals are getting in, and we can plug those places up, and we can fumigate the building. Even if the building is going to be taken down, it's going to have to be fumigated first. That's the law. So I would like to see some action on that.
Oh, thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Matthews, 252 High Road.
Hi.
Hi. I'm here to ask the board to dissolve the Municipal Building Committee. I think the results of the town election with 1,000 against the new town hall and 504 is pretty clear that it was the proposal did not sit well with the voters. I think we need a whole new look at this thing. I think we didn't learn from the police department, from going from this police department down to finally one that the town thought they could afford. And so I think we need a fresh look, and I'm asking for that, please. And I'd like to say congratulations to the 2 new members of the board for all the expertise that they'll bring to this board. Not just the planning board, not just the council on aging, but for their life's experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
No complaints at all.
How are you, Bernie?
Memorial Day Parade,
Ah,
Monday, 10 o'clock, starts at Nob Hill. You're all very welcome to come. If you got an old car or even a decent car, bring it.
oh, thank you. Thank you, Bernie.
Motorcycles, Bernie?
9 o'clock, you said?
Motorcycles, Bernie?
10?
Motorcycles?
Sure, I don't care. Tricycle, anything, don't make any difference. Truck I drive.
Just riding on Bernie's coattails about the Memorial Day Parade. He and Billy Wendt have done an excellent job in getting the vehicles together, and I'm really looking forward to the service. We have 2 of our own veterans who will be taking part of the service, and we have 2 Triton students who are going to take part. We have a Triton student who just graduated from college, and she's coming and taking part. And we have a young lady from George Washington University. She chose one of our veterans, our World War II veterans, that didn't return, and she did a project on this. And so she's coming to talk about what she experienced. And we have a lot of veterans who are going to be driving the vehicles. I
What
think-
time, what
think
time's the
that's-
service, Evelyn?
Whenever the parade ends, we end up at the memorial site.
Okay,
And
all right,
just after that, okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Going once? Okay. So, the board and committee reports, I signed the PR 2321 for the select board, the PR 2321 and PR 2322 for Julie O'Brien. Under grants, gifts, and donations, we have a Council on Aging donation from the Central Congregational Church for $500. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the $500 from the Central Congregational Church.
Any discussion? That's quite a donation.
The chocolate tour,
Oh, it is, their chocolate tour?
yes.
Okay, very good. The Council on Aging sends a note out to them, correct?
Yes. Cindy always does, yeah.
Does the Select Board want to send a note to them as well?
Yes. Do we send notes out to other people?
Yeah, sometimes we do if it's a large.
For large amounts, we
Large
do.
donations you have been.
Okay.
So does someone do a motion for,
So,
well, thank you?
I'll entertain that second. Let's vote this first. So all in favor of accepting the donation from the Central Congregational Church?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so how about sending them a note? I'll entertain a motion to send a note.
I'll make that motion to send a note to
Okay.
them.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Julie, you got that right?
Yep.
Okay, we have another Council on Aging donation from Alba Goldthorpe for $20. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept the
Second.
donation from Alba.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Another Council on Aging donation from Dave Winters for $25.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Police donation from Alfred and Sandra Bellows for $100.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we have a grant, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA grant, for $341,000. I'll entertain a motion to accept the grant.
Motion to accept the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration grant for $341,000.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Tracy, do you want to explain to the board what the grant is?
Sure, that is a grant for the Orchard Street culvert replacement. I'm told that once it's done, it will then be a small bridge, no longer a culvert. The estimated project cost based on the engineering was about $700,000, but they'll be going out to bid in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. So, and then this will cover what? The grant's going to cover just the design and the,
Construction.
oh, and the
Yeah,
construction?
we already got the grant for the design work, so this is for construction.
Great. Any questions from the board?
Is that the culvert where the hydrants, there's a hydrant on either side of that culvert?
Just after Martin Burns.
Yeah, right. That's that the one we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
I have a question. The capital plan was the $700,000 in the capital plan,
Correct.
and this $341,000 defrays that, lowers that number?
We'll offset that
So the grant
cost, yeah.
offsets, that's good, that's
It's,
great.
it's really important to note that the capital plan is our best estimates
Yes.
as we move through each year, but it's updated annually, and that's a representation of probably the worst-case scenario, the most costs we would be expending. Occasionally, something comes in higher, but we try to estimate conservatively on the high side, if you will.
So that's a pretty good wetland there. It's probably questions that maybe we can't answer, but I imagine it's gonna be a little bigger.
It'll be a
opening is
small
gonna-
bridge, yeah.
Because that's a pretty good wetland that runs through there, so, good. That was restricted.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have the reorganization of the select board. So every year after an election, we do a reorg. So right now, I guess I'm gonna, we'll go through them one seat at a time. I'm gonna entertain any nominations for chair.
I make a motion to nominate Alicia Greco for chair.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Thank you for your confidence.
Yep, I think it would be good to kind of finish out whatever time we decide, but you're been involved and get a chance to kind of complete what you started, so.
Well, thank you. Any further discussion?
I can't motion for myself, correct?
Yeah, you can motion for yourself.
Oh, I can do that? Okay, well, I motion,
We have to finish
We
this
have a
one
motion
first.
and a second on the table.
okay.
Let's vote this one out. And then, unless, did you want to, what did you want, Dana?
I'm volunteering to be the chair.
Okay, so we have two nominations on the floor for the chair. We have,
Gotta have a second quick.
yeah, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so the second discussion, we have two nominations on the chair, for the chair. Do we want, how do we want to do it? Do we want to vote all in favor of Alicia Greco, of me being chair, because I was nominated first, or do you, is that okay? I mean,
Unless there's a technical issue that, you know, not the procedural, no.
okay, so, all in favor of Alicia remaining chair? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all in favor of Dana? Two.
Aye.
Two. Okay, so I will remain chair. So now we have vice chairmanship. I would like to enter, I think that where we have new faces on the board this time, I think it's a, and there are quite a number of elderly in our community that and Bill does have experience on boards. I would like to nominate Bill as vice chair.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
I make,
Leslie?
like to nominate Dana Packer as the vice chair.
Okay, so we have nomination for Dana.
I'll second that.
Second? Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, so we have a nomination for Bill DeMayo as vice chair. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then and then for Dana Packer.
Aye.
Okay, now we have a clerk. Historically, that's been the newest member, has become the clerk. The clerk is in kind of an important leadership role. They sign a lot. They sign for the town. In the absence of the chair and the vice chair, the clerk will run the meeting. I would like to nominate Leslie Matthews as clerk.
Oh, thank you.
And I would second that.
Second. Now, is there anybody else that wants to nominate anybody else as clerk?
It's a great job.
I've done it on another board.
Oh, good, so you're experienced. All right, so all in favor of Leslie becoming clerk? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, I'm going to recuse myself. Actually, can we reseat Bill? Why don't you, Leslie, can you and Jeff swap seats?
Sure.
And Bill, can you and Dana swap seats?
Sure.
And that'll be,
Okay.
Good enough.
This isn't the squeaky one, is it?
I always had it anyway.
got rid of that one. And actually, Bill, I'm going to ask you to sit here and chair this part of the meeting because I need to recuse myself from this part.
Oh, yeah.
As a director butter.
Would I look all right carrying this?
Oh, yes.
Goes with the. I know. Sorry to sit next to me now.
So the next agenda item was the CRA amendment approval, 140R Main Street, Newbury, Mass. Robert Rosine, Watterson Engineering. Someone here to discuss this? Thank you.
Alrighty. Everybody hear me okay? Yep. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Robert Rosine with Waterstone Engineering. And with me tonight is Chris Lapointe from the Greenbelt Land Trust, who will also be discussing this with you briefly here. So what I'd like to do tonight, if that's okay, is I'm just going to kind of briefly give you a little bit of the history on where we've been, kind of how we got here, and what we're looking for from you this evening, and then I'll hand it over to Chris, who is intimately familiar with conservation restriction and the amendment process, of which I'm not. I'm really just the engineer for the project. So this project, goes way back, 2014 roughly, was approved here, not here, but by the town at the planning board for a, I don't even remember now, I think it's 2.9 megawatt, I believe, solar facility that was approved in 2019 out at 136 Main Street. So this is the Yasser Farm. During that time, roughly 80 acres was put into land conservation, and the different pieces, a few parcels were retained for the family. The facility, the facility was constructed beginning, I believe it was in 2020, and completed late 2021. At that point, it was discovered that there was a little bit of a snafu in the process, primarily with National Grid and the utility, and that we needed an access road to the interconnection point through the rear of the facility. What does that mean? It means that we needed another road for the utility to be able to access, for maintenance purposes, the transmission corridor. That road did not exist. And the conservation restriction for the 80 acres that were put into trust had already been executed. That conservation restriction did not allow for the location of the road. It was, what was done at that point was, boy, I'm going to spare you the big one, but basically we tried to move heaven and earth to avoid having to do this. We were not able to do that. Including getting local senators, and it just didn't happen. So we put a bridge, or then we went through the process of designing and permitting a bridge. So now this is the very, very last step of the process. We have our special permit amendment from the planning board. We have our order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. We have Corps of Engineers. I'm sure that there's some other process along the way. And now we're at the very last stage, which is the conservation restriction amendment. So a few other pieces to include with that. Because this is an amendment to an existing conservation restriction, we had to sort of sweeten the deal. So to do that, an additional 1.1 acres or thereabouts was added to the original conservation restriction to offset the new 0.6 acres of impact that we would have. But overall, it's really a beneficial process to the project overall, primarily that there was about a 140-foot road that used to go through the wetland. It was the old path down to the train where they would load the cattle way back in the day. So that is the path, that is the location where all of this will take place. But now what we will be doing is removing that 135-foot path through the wetland. So essentially restoring approximately, that distance, plus removing about 5,000 yards of fill, and building a bridge over it instead. So it's a net plus for the environment, net plus for the project, and we've now received approval from the state for that. So that's why we're here for you this evening. So maybe that's a good time to stand aside and let Chris give his little intro, and then I can answer. Or if you'd like, I'll answer some questions. Right now.
Robert, so that's a heavy equipment bridge that long?
Oh yeah, yeah. So there, to put it mildly, we have no control over this process. We do what NGrid tells us. That's it. They have protocols, but the only thing we were able to get them to do in this process was reduce the road width from 20 to 12, 20 feet to 12 feet.
A
So
one-way fire engine or
that's
whatever.
right, that's right, with some pullouts along the way. But yeah, so this has been reviewed by the fire department, so we're good with all of that. And this is just the final step in the process, and we're hopeful that you would support that with the intention of actually beginning construction in a matter of weeks.
Do we have any other choice?
I would like to say no, but I'm not entirely sure. If you did, it would be, woo! I mean, the facility's already built. I mean, it's just waiting to turn on, and, you know, there's a payment in lieu of taxes that's coming your way that's not coming anybody's way at the moment. You know, there's a whole big negotiation that should have been done, and I think really the problem with this ended up being it took too long so that the various folks that were participant in the process didn't remember the same conversations. I don't really know. I didn't do that original permitting, so I'm not going to take the credit for that one. Yeah. Martha, tell me that I don't have a choice, please. Yes, we are. We're between a rock and a hard place, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
The facility's built.
Yeah.
This is the last, as Rob said, this is the last piece that needs to be put into place for them to actually get the interconnection and get the facility running.
Chris?
Thanks, Rob. If I could just take a couple minutes. Chris Lapointe, I'm the Vice President of Conservation Operations at Essex County Greenbelt. We are the holder of the restriction. I don't want to add too much to what Rob said, other than just a couple of things on process. Greenbelt doesn't take amendment of conservation restrictions lightly. So we went through this whole process of looking at alternatives, concluding that, in fact...
Excuse me for a minute.
Sure.
Fred, we can hear your voice up here, and we can't hear him too well. Okay.
Essentially...
Thank you.
Good conversation,
Would have made a
Fred.
great chair.
Essentially concluding that this was the best path forward after looking at all other alternatives other than amending the restriction. So what is our duty as the holder of the restriction? We need to make sure that the package of changes, of additional land that's being protected, results in a net conservation gain. And so we reviewed this at our staff level, we reviewed this at our board level. This was reviewed and approved by the state Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs as being a net conservation gain. And so just in brief, we're comfortable with it. Greenbelt is happy with the result. And essentially, this is consistent with the initial intent of the restriction. So we all knew when the restriction went on that a part of this was a solar facility that would be connected to the grid, and the details of that unfortunately morphed as the project went on, but ultimately we are comfortable with the result. So happy to take any questions, but just in brief wanted to say that we've reviewed it, approved it, ready to go.
From the town's perspective, Leslie, you're on the planning board, and Martha, I mean, this has been properly vetted as far as you're concerned by the right people in Newbury?
Yes, I mean, Leslie, I don't know if you want to add anything to it, but.
Yeah, we went out and did an additional site walk to view exactly where the road was going to go, and it was very well explained to us how it was going to do as little there is some wetlands out there, and the bridge will go over the wetlands. And the bridge is coming in what, 2 or 3 pieces? 5 pieces. And it'll be brought in by crane. Yeah.
And we did, our review engineer, Joe Sawatka, reviewed the project, and we had some extensive conversations also, as Rob alluded to, with the fire department, the fire chief, to make sure that they were comfortable with getting the emergency apparatus down there if needed. There are,
Great.
it's wide enough to get the equipment down there. There are some pullouts, and so they were all set with it as well.
Okay.
So it's been through quite a process,
Okay.
both with planning and conservation and with fire.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Martha, that's going up on piers or some sort of, so it's actually freeing up the wetland a little anyway, right? 'Cause
Yes.
You're gonna get, migration of animals and wet,
Yeah, there's actually fill in there that's gonna be removed as,
Yep,
as part of
yep,
this process.
yep.
So it should be improving actually the wetland functioning there. Although Sam, I think, can speak to that better than I can, but.
Any more Dana, any more questions?
No,
No,
I'm good.
Good. So I guess we need to entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the bridge?
Approve the amendment.
Bridge. Yep. Approve the conservation restriction.
a second.
Any discussion, any further discussion? Barring none, all in favor?
Aye.
All set.
Was that audible?
Thank
you very much.
Who gets the benefit of the electricity from the solar system?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Everybody, I guess. It goes right back up to the grid.
Back to National Grid?
To the grid.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's get Alicia.
Thank you. Okay. So, next on the agenda, we have a conservation agent intermunicipal agreement. I'll entertain a motion to sign the conservation agent municipal agreement. Do I have a second? Or do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
Yeah, and I can second.
You'll second, okay. Discussion. Can you explain to us, the board, what this is?
Sure. A number of months ago, we were approached by the administrator from the town of Merrimack regarding the possibility of sharing a conservation agent. As municipal governments evolve, and on an annual basis, we kind of look at opportunities to regionalize. We periodically review our governmental structure. We look for opportunities for efficiencies, for any kinds of cost savings. We do that every year as part of our annual operating budget process. But this came to us at just the right time where we could even think about considering it. So seeing this proposal as one of those potential opportunities, my first conversation naturally was with Samantha Holt, who is our current conservation agent. Having confidence in her abilities to manage time and what she expressed to me, it seemed like it was a possibility, and we could likely do it. It would be a split of, right now she works 35 hours for us. She would go down to 25 hours a week for us, and then she would pick up 15 hours a week at Merrimack. The more detailed conversations that we had with the community developed into the document that you guys have before you tonight, there will naturally be some opportunities for us to discuss actual physical hours. We're going to talk about structuring the office hours so that they're amenable to each of the towns, but we have most of that worked out. And we're looking at potentially saving for the town of Newbury about $30,000 a year, give or take. And I appreciate the comments about measurable results. Samantha and I, in our meetings, throughout the discussions, talked about just that, Mr. Mangan. It would be very important for us to understand that it's not impacting Newbury in any kind of a negative manner. So we definitely be evaluating that periodically. So it's just an opportunity if it's something you're interested in.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Clarification, Samantha does 35 hours now. Is that considered a full-time position here in the town?
Anything over 20 hours is considered full-time benefits eligible.
Okay.
So she would, her status would remain the same, what she is now.
And nobody really feels that we'll be at a little bit of a loss by losing 10 of her hours provided to the town?
I have had discussions with the chair and the vice chair of the Conservation Commission and with Samantha herself, who provided me with the information that, you know, that I had the most confidence in, telling me that she could manage her time appropriately.
And is there a review at some point to make sure that that's happening properly?
We'd be reviewing it constantly. I mean, we'd be evaluating, the document itself requires that we maintain very detailed hours and throughout the commitment. So I would imagine historical data, we'd be looking at a year, but we're going to be maintaining it throughout the contract.
But excuse me, Leslie, I believe, I thought I saw in here that it's quarterly, you're gonna review it quarterly?
We're going to meet quarterly.
Yeah.
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 But we'll be documenting throughout the entire time.
Alicia,
Jeff?
it's a yes, you're looking forward to it, it's something you want to do?
I am, should I?
Yeah, come on up,
Yeah,
come on up,
Sam.
Samantha.
Well, I didn't mean to
Introduce
say that
yourself
to
and
you.
say who you are.
I'm Samantha Holt. I'm the conservation agent here in Newbury right now. I would just like to note it's not a decision that was just thrown at me, whether I liked it or not. It was presented to me first. I had time to consider it. I've been thinking about this for the last 6 months. Quite frankly, it was something that I was really excited about. I was really looking forward to. I grew up in Merrimack, so I'm very familiar with the area. I was really looking forward to the additional experience. There's stuff in Merrimack that I don't get to deal with in Newbury, different types of resource areas that I was looking forward to getting some experience learning about and handling and dealing with the regulations and whatnot. I mean, I've been working in municipal government since I was 14 years old, and I have quite literally grown up in municipal government, witnessing it. And if for a second I thought that this was something that I wouldn't be able to handle, or that I would feel like I might be not providing the adequate services to the people and protections to the resources, because that would be my job, it is my job. If I thought for a second that I wouldn't provide adequate services for both of those fronts, I 100% would have told Merrimack, find someone else, because the last thing I want is inadequate service to the towns, to the resources, to the people that depend on them. So I wouldn't have considered it, I wouldn't have accepted it if it was something I didn't think that I could handle. So I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I do believe that it's something that I'll be able to take on with appropriate time management skills applied.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
Project
new
manager.
challenge, that's good, it's good.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions of Samantha?
I was just thinking, if there were some worst-case catastrophic situation where in either town that required more than 15 in Merrimack, is there any flexibility in the agreement?
Yes. Yes, we can be flexible, but it has to be with the approval of the town administrator in Merrimack and the town administrator in Newbury. And those circumstances could occur. I mean, thinking back to, was it 2013, when we had issues on Plum Island, the conservation agent then spent a great deal of time on the beach. So we could see that happening at some point in time.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
And my only other question is, do you feel confident with the board that you sit on right now, because it's so many newer faces as well, that they're still getting their toes wet?
Absolutely. I mean, they've been doing an incredible job they got thrown in head first into the deep end for that, and they've been doing an awesome job getting familiarized with the regulations. They've done a really good job of the very steep learning curve that they've had. They have taken it very well, and I think we're in a really good position right now with the Newbury Conservation Commission. I think we have a lot of good opinions. We have a lot of good backgrounds that have been really helpful for all of us.
And you have a mix still, and Mary's still on the board, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's, yeah, that's some.
Yeah, and I know on both commissions, I know some of the people on the Merrimack Commission as well. So I know that in both towns, there are a lot of really good people that I know I can count on to support me in the shift and to, help out with anything that needs to be helped out with.
Great,
Thanks for all you do.
thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Any other questions, Dana?
I have questions on the agreement.
Yes.
So the position is appointed by you, correct, in this town?
Correct.
In Merrimack, it's up to the select board to vote.
I think the commission appoints.
No, the way it's structured here in this agreement is Newbury is the lead community. They're referred to as the lead community. The employee is ours. We do the hiring. She would function under our personnel bylaws, under our benefits structure, and they would pay us an assessment.
Okay, but they do say in here
Yep.
that, there's just a couple of things I noticed.
Sure.
In the job description is really totally different from our town versus their town, which I think is it's a little awkward for me. Just a couple of examples, here, you may frequently lift objects up to 30 pounds, but in Merrimack, it's only 10. And I'm a little, because we just wrote one of these at the Essex Vets for the new person there, and we came up with one job description for all 6 towns, so that Samantha understands exactly, or whoever may have that position understands what their job is gonna be. It seems kind of awkward that when someone goes over there, their job description is different than when they're here. And I'm wondering if you got together with them and talked about the job description?
The job description was existing in the town of Merrimack, and there's been no discussion about amending it.
So when we're forming this new alliance, you don't feel as though the job descriptions in both towns should be rewritten?
I'm not going to be directing her in her role in Merrimack. That's up to the Merrimack administration there to be directing her while she's there. We do share a same town council, so the rulings would be similar. But the commission's expectations in Merrimack may be different from the commission's expectations here, so I don't know that we have that much control over it, but I didn't see it as an issue. I don't know if you saw anything of concern.
No, and honestly, I'm no stranger to working in different departments that have different requirements, and I've done it before, working in other towns. I've volunteered for different departments that all have different ways of doing things, and it's mostly just about making sure that I know where I am and what's expected of me, which...
I just follow on, like education and experience, over there, it says that a master's degree in environmental sciences or related field, or 2 years' experience in wetland-related work, where here, we don't have that high of a requirement. So would the person who gets appointed here next time have to have a master's degree in environmental sciences?
Well, we're hoping that Samantha will stay here for a very long time.
Well, I know, but that's not, that's not the case all the time. Just a couple of other things.
Let's not lose sight of the fact, though, that it does say, with respect to master's degree, or any equivalent combination of education and experience. Okay, it's
But
professional.
they're just not the same. It wouldn't make sense to me that they would be the same.
Yeah, but I don't know if
A master's degree isn't
No, it's
a
not.
key to.
No.
yeah, but I don't know, when we just did this regionalization with the animal resource officer, that didn't, animal control officer rather, that didn't all those job descriptions, Patty, I don't know if you know the answer, did they all align? I don't think they did in each town, each community.
The
So
job
we're currently
description,
working on that now, but it is different to some degree, because each town has different bylaws.
Right.
That the animal control officer has to respond to, so they will have to know each town's bylaws, and function. So to some degree, they will be operating differently under each, town that they're in, and it's their job to know.
See, and I see that similar to this position, because when she's in Newbury, she has to know the Wetlands Protection Act is all encompassing, but she has to know the Newbury bylaws, and when she's in Merrimack, she'll have to know the Merrimack bylaws, because there could be different. So,
And over ACO, we have mass general laws that dictate their training and what's required of them in order to be deemed an ACO, so
Thank you.
similar but different.
But
All
I
right,
mean,
thank you.
I understand, but in the job description, you could, obviously, that person would need to know what the bylaws were in each town, which, that would be exactly the same in the work agreement. Was they have to know what the bylaws are and pertain those, apply those bylaws, whatever town they might be in. That wouldn't be a change in the job description.
well, no, but
Between each town.
But what I'm saying is whatever's in the bylaw, it may be different, it may be applied differently, and that's why the job description might be a little different in each community.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I understand your point, that
I
you,
just
they
thought
should
that
be
was a little,
aligned.
and this is and it's only because I just wrote one of these.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the mass driver's license, under knowledge, skills, experience required, we've got that must be able to operate an automobile and have a valid mass driver's license. And then under education and/or certification required, again, you need to have a mass driver's license and must be able to operate an automobile. Those items, it should be in one or the other. It's either a certification of having a driver's license or in the experience of being able to drive a car. Yeah, I just think I think that the verbiage throughout the agreement is, it could be tweaked a little bit. Let's just put it that way.
Did it go through town council?
Yes.
Yeah.
well, I don't think that Merrimack's looking for Samantha to do her job like she does it here in that town. And we're not looking the same way. Merrimack's very different, a lot less marshes, a lot less barrier beaches in Merrimack. It's a different town. So it's probably
Okay.
gonna be fine.
No.
Okay. Any further questions? Jeff? Bill, you good?
I'm good.
All right. So, thank you, Samantha. All in favor of, now, I need to enter, Julia, the town administrator will sign this, correct?
Yes.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the intermunicipal agreement, the intermunicipal, oh my God, the conservation agent intermunicipal agreement, and allow the town administrator to sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was not in favor.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it should be tweaked. I think the agreement should be tweaked a little bit, that's all.
Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, so next we have the Newbury Police Department Leahy Clinician Partnership Update from Chief Fisher.
Thank you, and congratulations to the new board. I look forward to working with you. So I'm before you tonight to talk about the Leahy Clinician that we're in a partnership grant with. And before I read my canned piece about that, I have to let you know, a piece of the grant is that any public speaking we do about this position, or any social media posts or anything we put on the website, has to be approved through the Department of Mental Health before we can give it. So when I'm reading this to you, and it seems less personable, that's why I have to, this is the presentation that we need to do before the select board. So I wanted to come to you tonight because we do have a licensed mental health counselor working in conjunction with the police department now. And I think it's really important that you guys know that we hired that person, that she is an employee of Leahy, and that she is now a resource to the police department and the community at large. So I'll read this and then answer any questions that you guys have. So the chiefs of the Raleigh, Boxford, Georgetown, Groveland, and Newbury Police Departments are pleased to announce the addition of a jail diversion clinician, Robin Reed. Robin's position is made possible via grant-awarded funding through Massachusetts Department of Mental Health Jail to Arrest Diversion Grant Program to implement a component jail diversion program. Our clinician was made possible in collaboration with Beth Israel Leahy Behavioral Health Services. The jail diversion clinician will assist in co-response for behavioral health calls, perform brief assessments to determine appropriate services, connections, facilitate diversions from arrest when appropriate, and assist in increasing competencies within the police departments, ultimately strengthening each agency's response to behavioral health crisis. Additional funding will be used to provide increased behavioral health training to members of each of the 5 partnering agencies in an effort to increase citizens and officer safety, increase the services available to our community members, and decrease unnecessary arrests, decrease undue stress on emergency service systems, and successfully divert behavioral health patients to treatment or connect to services as needed. So the public should know that the police department, so she's assigned 1 day a week in each police department, and she works from noon to 8 p.m. She is with the Newbury Police Department physically on Fridays. But if we have a behavioral health crisis during her regular hours and she's assigned to a different department, she's available to the department via phone or to co-respond with us. So there's an understanding within our agreement that she is to respond to wherever the kind of crisis is happening right now. She has physically been with us for a month now, and we've already seen an incredible, I can't believe we functioned without her. So it has really been incredible. So when people in the public hear or get a phone call from her or see her on site with us, that the police officers have referred their situation to Robin, please know that she is a partner with us. Her records and information is kept separate from us, so she is not a town employee, not a police department employee. She is just a referral source who's on site for us to assist us as we kind of navigate behavioral health crises in the community. So that's summary. That's about it. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Does she overlap the schools at all, or is it more outside of the schools because they have their own people?
So the schools have their own people, but if our school resource officer has an event that now kind of the police department has taken control of in the school, absolutely she can be used as a resource. For example, could be, let's say we have enough information where we need to issue a Section 12 against somebody. She can kind of be called for consultation or support or work with the family to make sure that the appropriate referrals are made. She is not providing one-on-one therapy or counseling to people. She is a referral source to gather the information, see what's going on, get kind of the police and the public information, and then make the appropriate referral. So she won't be anyone in town's therapist, so to speak, but she is available. People, we can make referrals, or, for example, if somebody in the community has a family member or knows somebody who's experiencing mental health crisis and is seeing an escalation, the public can call and ask to speak to her as well and do a self-referral, with the goal of it being before this situation rises to a criminal event where this person could be subject to arrest. So there's a number of different ways that we can interact as a public with this clinician.
Well done.
Thank you.
I think
We'll
it's-
have
I think it's a
information on
great
our
asset.
website as well. So we're gonna have a new drop down on our website. I'm just waiting for everything to get approved. If you follow us on Facebook, you will see that we kind of share the things that Raleigh Police Department put out, and they'll reference us in it. That's because Raleigh is, they're the administrator of the grant, so they're the ones actually seeking the approval for things that we can put out there. But we want to make sure that the public knows that she's a resource now, and it's great.
That is great.
I have a question.
Dana?
I think it's a great asset to have. I think it's extremely important. Mental health is a serious issue. And I like the idea of, I'm assuming that she, or this person, could possibly diffuse a situation that would get out of control because of, you know, a police presence showing up instead of her.
So anytime she goes out in the public, she has to be with a police officer. That's part of the grant and its safety.
Right.
But absolutely, let's say we had a situation where we're there and we're kind of waiting it out because it's not quite criminal yet, but it's, you know, it's bad. She can actually absolutely come in with us and have conversations with the involved person, kind of pull us back a little bit to see if she can do the things she's trained to do so that we don't have to do the things that we're trained to do. So absolutely.
How would the dispatch function of that take place? You know, like who would determine whether or not she should be on site or go to that call, or?
It would be the shift supervisor, and she also has a radio, so when she's working, she scans all of us. So if she hears a call that we might be going to, she can reach out to the supervisor who's working and be like, hey, is that something you think you might need me for? She has a work phone that we can reach her on. So we call her and consult with things. I mean, we've used her quite a bit for it so far, but the dispatcher wouldn't be making that assessment. It would be one of the officers. Yeah.
And Patty, there's gonna be a uniform there anyway all the time.
When she's out in the public, so let's say she co-responds to something, or we have somebody who's physically disabled and can't come to the police department to meet with her, or whatever the case may be, then yes, the police officer has to be with her. She can't go into someone's home or meet with somebody without an officer present. That's just for safety reasons. But we do have space available at the police department that's monitored, that she can, privately meet with people at if she wants. And she's been doing quite a bit throughout the phone as well. So like I said, we've already seen where she's been very valuable to us in a month. And this is a brand new program. So for it to see a benefit so quickly while trying to figure out, how to put apples and oranges together really speaks to her as an employee and the design of the program and the need for it as well. So.
Is she in uniform?
No, she's a licensed mental health counselor. Yeah. She gets all of her supervision through, Leahy. She's under my supervision when she's, with us, but her bosses are all through Leahy.
I think that by osmosis, the officer that accompanies her to a situation will actually gain some expertise watching how she handles or diffuses something, which is great because you have some really sensitive, people-oriented policemen that work for you.
We do.
I appreciate that.
We do. No, I appreciate that as well. I'm grateful to lead such a compassionate group of people. And you just reminded me as well, this piece that I presented tonight will be not in the next Council on Aging newsletter, but the one after that. So we're going to have a piece there so that we can kind of reach the seniors as well that might be able to do some self-referral, for any needs that they might be having as well.
Can I give a Council on Aging plug?
Go right ahead.
We have coffee with a cop at the Council on Aging, and we've had some interesting discussions downstairs. Aaron's been great. He brings an officer with him when Patty can make it. Actually, we're rescheduling from Wednesdays to Tuesdays, so you can make it. And it's like talking about scams, things that all of us are concerned about, okay? And it's, if you can make it sometime, look for it on the calendar. It's really worthwhile. They have donuts, too.
It has been fun. We're going to try to have Robin attend one of those as well, once we land on a date.
That would be great.
Works for my new schedule.
Great.
Perfect.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, what do you need from us? Do you need a vote from us, or?
Nope, when it first got started, it was already, I just wanted to give you an update because I think it was important for the public. If they hear from Robin, the police officer you met with yesterday called, no, I'm not an employee of the police department. You know what I mean? I didn't want there to be any confusion between the board or in the public that she, in fact, we are making referrals and we are asking her to follow up. There's no forced service, but people should know that she is now a resource to them. And like I said, hopefully it'll be up on the website. So.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Okay, so we have approval of a new business license for Christopher Foley, DBA Foley Stoneworks at 6A Fatherland Drive in Byfield, General Business, Masonry.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Is Christopher here? No. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Approve, we have approved for a commercial clam permit.
Room, I guess.
You're recusing yourself, okay. So we have to approve a commercial clam permit application renewal for Nathan Walker, 173 High Road.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, you can come back.
Heavy duty one, huh?
Yeah, that wasn't too long. Next, we have approved public property use request, Harmony Natural Learning Center at the Lower Green, it's an end of school year celebration on June 14th with the rain date of June 15th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Do we have someone here from the Harmony Natural Learning Center? Hi, come on up. Why don't you come up there, say who you are and where you're from and what you're...
Bertle Clark, I'm the director at Harmony Natural Learning Center, 67 Newburyport Turnpike. I live in Amesbury.
Welcome.
We are, every year we do an end of the year celebration for all the families to come together. We have 75 families all together at Harmony. And we're looking this year to do it in our town of Newbury. So we were looking at the Lower Green because of the beauty, spaciousness, the meadow walk, so forth. But also looking for parking as well in the loop around the back of the Lower Green and maybe Newman Road as well. That's it. I don't know if you have questions.
So I do, and then I'll open it up to the board. So how many, you have 75 families, how many people are you expecting?
Probably around 125.
Wow.
125 people. And where are you gonna, and how many cars do you think?
We're hoping that families come in one car. The past couple of years, we did it at we did it at Newburyport at Bartlett Mall, and it worked out fine. It's just the parking's difficult in Newburyport as well. So we were hoping that this might solve that problem. But the hope is that they will come in one car and not have Dad come in a different car, because that causes a problem for sure.
And then what was the time frame you were gonna do it?
People will actually be there from 9 till probably 11, but teachers and so forth, 8 o'clock till we get cleaned up, so around noon probably.
Yeah. So, those are my questions. Do we have any questions from the board?
I do not.
You don't?
It's already gone through you anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but I wanted to mention, I looked at high tide times in case we had to use the town landing as well, parking lot. And we are not at low tide at the times that, any other time that they're gonna be there. On the 14th, it's 3:24 to 3:38 is what low tide looks like. And then on the 15th, which is their rain date, it's 4:20 to 4:29. So even in a worst case scenario, if you allowed them to park at the town landing, that takes about 36 cars, I think, without trailers. There, we would not be impacting any of our clamming community in trying to park there with their trailers for clamming time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful, thank you.
How about like a crossing guard or anything? There's no crosswalk there.
Well, we don't have a crossing guard, and that's why we were talking about getting permission to use the loop around the green and then up Newman Road. So we've spoken, and the worst case scenario would be if people had to go there for that as a last case option, but we've talked about that kind of conundrum right there.
And has there been, Patty, in your experience, has there been any other events at the Lower Green with this many people?
I don't know about that many people, but Byfield Days, we had, Newburytown Days, not Byfield Days, I'm confusing old with new. We did have an event at the Green that drew decent, if I remember correctly, vehicles there, and it seemed adequate. Again, I think between them doing advocacy to say that parking is limited, that smaller window, because when I first looked at the window, thinking of it as like an all-day kind of thing, it's a smaller window. If parking did become congested, I would be able to go down, you know what I mean, and make sure that things were safe. They can call us if they start noticing people have to go to the town landing for parking, and we'll make sure, you know, that we don't have kids crossing unnecessarily.
And you're gonna have porta potties there too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Reds is bringing 2 porta potties for us.
Okay.
Is there a location to put those that you would prefer, or does it matter?
Maybe James, Tracy, get a hold of James.
Yeah.
Leave it to
I
Reds.
waited.
They'll figure it
Ask
out.
him where the porta potty's gonna go. Ask James.
Or leave it to
Patient.
Reds, Reds might know better.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, ask the highway supervisor.
Okay.
Yeah, you can work, yeah, you can work with the town, because this makes me a little uncomfortable and itchy, because it's a big crowd for that area, and the homes are there, and I don't think it happens often.
Right.
So that's why I'm a little like, But we haven't heard anybody not want anything done. I have never heard anybody not want anything, use of that lower green, so.
Yeah,
We can try it once.
that's right.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful event.
Thank you. We'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, next is approved public property use request for Loco Races LLC and Ventures Endurance. It's a half marathon and a 5K on November 12th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is anybody here from Loco Races LLC? No. Okay.
We can't tell someone not to put markings on the road.
Don't mess up our roads. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved public property use request for Brenna Bannister. It's a wedding ceremony on Newbury Beach on October 7th, 2023. Can I have a motion?
What part of the beach is that, Alicia?
Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
And I'll second it,
Okay.
and that's a good question. by
It's
the way.
right when you go in the parking lot.
Right in the
there.
center?
That's the town beach.
Okay.
It's on the town property. Patty?
Just to elaborate on that, I've actually spoken with them before I signed it and gave them a map of where was public and where was private, just to ensure that it was on the public beach, and they've confirmed for me that it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the problem with Plum Island. We don't know what's public and what's private. It's not really marked. Okay.
So Patty, not to even get into it, but if you walk out to the groin, it's to the north they're gonna go?
I think
It'll
the
be
map's
just-
attached,
It'll
what
be
she
just
circled.
north of the center. I believe they presented.
Just north of that groin, those rocks.
It's hard to
Yes.
read it, but yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so it's in the town
Alright.
beach, and, you know, I let them know they gotta be careful of what high tide is, because we have the plover, you know, right now, the plover fences are
Well,
out there.
but this is October.
Oh, that's in October, okay,
Yeah.
well, then I spoke to her about something that didn't need to be spoken about.
Good information.
Good information to know.
Information.
When she goes on a scouting episode.
That's perfect, when she
she's
goes to
gonna
go
need
get a
to know
tan
about
for
it
her,
now.
for the wedding.
Right. Yeah, so it's circled here, Jeff.
Yeah.
Always working.
Oh, yeah. Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we have a one-day liquor license for Mercury Brewing Vintage Baseball, Spencer Pierce Little Farm, on June 1st, 2023.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna take all
Yeah,
of these
good.
at the same time.
Just say the
Okay.
dates.
So we have one on June 4th, one on June 18th, one on July 9th, one on July 16th, July 23rd, July 30th, and that's all of them. So I'll entertain a motion to approve those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
There are 6.
6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a one-day liquor license for Alyssa Kendall Castine at the BCAC. It's a birthday party on June 10th.
To approve.
Second.
I should have asked you, Julie, you'll interrupt me if nothing is in order.
Right, we have all the
We have everything.
documentation, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have improved entertainment license for, one-day liquor license for Governor's Academy. Their annual renewal, reunion on June 9th and 10th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we have an approval, an entertainment license for Old Newbury Golf Club. It's a music band, June through September 2023, 5:30 PM to 9:30 PM.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have an entertainment license for the Plum Island Beachcomber. They'll have a small speaker, Saturdays 3 PM to 6 PM. They want this for the year, May 23rd to May 24th. Can I have a second? Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Julie, is this consistent with what they got last year?
It
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done this before.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
For the year, though, okay.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Under old business, we have none. Town administrator report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief Fisher mentioned plovers, so it's a good time to segue into that. We both were in attendance at a meeting last week with representatives from Mass Audubon, Mass Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, National Heritage Endangered Species personnel, the Massachusetts EPOs. I think that was it. I think that was everyone there. Did I miss anyone? That was all of the stakeholders, and we were there regarding issues that they have brought to our attention regarding the plovers, and these issues have all been occurring on the public part of the Newbury Beach. We've had conversations with them in the past, and it seems to be the same issues arising each year. Primarily, they were related to dogs off leash and signage relative to the plovers. So the signage issue seems as though it's in the process of being solved. They did confirm for us that the DCR will be providing us with the templates for the signage, and we'll put them at our public accesses as
good.
well as at the center. And there is also, they brought it to our attention, Matt at the Refuge brought it to our attention, that there were some very old signage that had inaccurate information on it, so those will be removed.
Where was that signage?
I can't even remember where that sign was. One is on a tiny pole on Plum Island Turnpike, and just before you get to the boulevard. Yeah. And the other one was at the Fordham Way access.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And the new signs are basically going to communicate to visitors and residents who are using the beach in a very friendly manner that dogs off leash may create state and federal liabilities for those dog owners should a take occur of a protected bird. So we also clarified for dogs off leash that when the town received reports of potential takes of the birds, our first step is to contact the Mass EPOs, and the second step is to contact Mass Wildlife. For our proactive management, the bylaw that we have now does not allow for dogs on the public beach from May 15th through September 15th, from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So we do have that in effect now. Chief Fisher did provide an update to the group that Newbury Police Department's patrols frequently do check for dogs during those hours, and would note to the dog owners that it's not allowable. They stressed to us that limiting dogs on the beach outside of those hours or seasons would obviously require a change to our bylaws, and while that would certainly decrease the activity and the chances of a take, it's something that the town of Newbury in the past has been hesitate to move forward with. I understand anecdotally that there have been a couple of attempts at leash laws, and they haven't been viewed favorably at all by town meeting participants. So In summation, at this point, both the state and federal agencies, again, stressed a leash law, excluding dogs from the public beach altogether, and that those were activities that we could take into consideration that would limit the town's liability. Now, I'm not an attorney, and I don't clearly know what exactly our liability is. So I'd like to move forward with working with Attorney Clemens to kind of understand the full extent of what our exposure is, because we have the unique situation where much of our beach is private. We don't have a leash law. We have a bylaw that has some limitations during certain seasons, but none at other times of the year. So we've got a lot of issues on our Plum Island beach, and I'd like to get some clear legal clarification on what exactly Newbury's exposure is.
So, but our bylaw doesn't allow dogs on the beach.
Certain
On the public beach.
Public beach.
But we only have control over public beaches. We don't have any
Correct.
control over private property.
Correct.
So our current bylaw, what is the bylaw right now? The dogs are allowed during plover season. Are there dogs allowed on the beach at all? In the evening?
Not between 8:30 and 5:30.
AM. 8:30 AM to 5:30 PM.
PM.
So from 5:31 PM till 8:29 AM.
Yes.
You can walk your dog.
Yes.
Off leash.
Off
Off
leash
leash.
on a beach. Okay.
In the plover season, if you don't mind me saying,
Sure.
we learned in that meeting is April 1st.
April 1st.
Through August 31st?
I believe so.
August 30th?
Yeah.
So April through August, our bylaw is, is May through September. So even with our bylaw that restricts, we can enforce certain hours of the day, we're leaving the birds exposed, that concern about leaving them exposed then, but there's also some time on the other ends when the bylaw is not in place.
The whole month of April.
And then again, after September through August. I mean, no, yeah, through a whole month of April, yes.
Okay.
So that's one thing.
Kind of a biggie.
Yeah.
Leash laws, I think the JRM town meeting is packed, and leash laws always brings in just as many, right, Fred? Oh, gosh.
All right, so once I have an opportunity to confer with the attorney, I'll bring you an update.
Thank you.
We spoke briefly about Orchard Street. That'll be going out to bid sometime soon, and we'll be building the small bridge. We also have the Main Street Bridge railings. We hope to have that project completed in July. The Central Street Bridge, it's currently being engineered, so we expect it'll probably be 2 years before we see any construction at that location. River Street, we're currently applying for grant funding for the engineering component. And also in terms of DPW, we completed the paving on the Plum Island Turnpike, and all the main roadways have been done now. And the latest update is we expect the public bathrooms to be completed this season, as they had initially told us.
Right.
Newbury Police Department is hiring full-time emergency communication dispatchers, so they can certainly go to their website, anyone interested, and speak with the chief, reach out to them. We're welcoming Wilma McDonald as our new assistant town clerk. She was chosen, the town clerk appoints the assistant town clerk. She comes to us with many, many years of experience in that role. So we're excited to have her joining our team. Let's see, what else have I got? Oh, the DHCD provided notification that our MBTA action plan has been approved, and Newbury has now achieved interim compliance, correct? So next steps?
So we've actually received a grant.
Yeah, come on.
So as part of our action plan, the first step was to actually apply for some technical assistance, and we submitted a grant application to Mass Housing Partnership and have been awarded that grant, so it's up to $20,000. MVPC has been selected as our consultant, so we've actually had a meeting with them last week. We're going to be working out the scope of work, which I'll be sending to you. And we'll be getting that underway. Our goal still is to get the districts identified and prepare the zoning and have that before town meeting next year. We actually don't need to be in compliance until December 31st of 2025, but the board felt, and I felt, that it would be good to move it forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, congratulations on that piece.
Yep, and that's it.
No, thank you. Quite an update. Okay, so, under correspondence, we have letters from Comcast regarding changes to service. Dear Chairman and members of the board, we are committed to keeping you and our customers informed about changes to Xfinity TV series. Accordingly, please note the following change to the Xfinity channel lineup provided to in your community. Effective May 12, 2023, Shop HQ will no longer be available with Xfinity. Customers are receiving notices of their change in their bill. If you have any questions, please contact Carrie Morris at Carrie_Morris, MORRIS, at Comcast.com. And then there's also additional changes to Xfinity TV series. Please note the following change to the Xfinity channel lineup provided in your community. 1, the programmer carried on leased access channel 1098 has terminated their agreement effective May 9th, 2023. Leased access will no longer be available on Xfinity channel 1098 as of May 9th. And the programmer carried on leased access channel 1094 has terminated their agreement effective May 12, 2023. Leased access will no longer be available on Xfinity channel 1094 as of May 12th. Again, you customers should have received notice of these changes in their bill. You need to contact them. Again, it's Kerry Morris, KERRY_Morris, MORRIS, at Comcast.net. And if you do want to reach out to them, you can reach out to Julie. She can help you at the select board. And the final one is effective May 23rd, which I believe is today. HBO Max will be renamed Max. That's that. Okay, those are our Comcast updates. Next, we have meeting updates. So we have a select board summer schedule because things slow down during the summer for us. We will have 2 meetings in June because we have to do appointments. There will be 1 meeting scheduled to be the 4th Tuesday in July, the 4th Tuesday in August, and the 4th Tuesday in September, unless there's one needed. And we have 48 hours to post a meeting. If something comes up and somebody needs the board to move on something, I'll be reaching out to you. I only need 3 for a quorum, so as long as 3 people can attend, we can hold a meeting. If only 2 can attend, we'll have to reschedule it, but you know, if you're planning on going away, don't not go because you miss one liquor license or something, you know, so. There will also be an additional meeting for the select board that is a training. It's a training session with town council. Julie has reached out to town council regarding a date. She hasn't heard back yet. I believe our council, Lisa, is away for the next couple of weeks, but she told me she has availability in June, so that will be an additional meeting in June, besides our regularly scheduled meeting.
Is this the one we have every year the same?
The same training. It's
Yeah. Is it
conflict of
required
interest.
that we go to the same training? Do you know? Well, we can find out.
Well, there is certain requirements. You have to have open meeting law trainings. You have to have
Online.
conflict of interest trainings, right.
Online.
But this may cover that as well, so, but what's important about this meeting, what is not covered, is she goes over the Town Administrator Act, the Act 460 that's passed, so that the board can understand what our roles are and how it's best to stay in our own lanes and not cross in somebody else's lane, because nothing good comes from that. So that's helpful to the newest board members. I mean, I like training, I think it's a refresher is good, so, but it will be very helpful to the newest members. But again, she'll throw us some dates, Julie will email everybody and say, do these dates work, and we'll get it scheduled. And the Municipal Building Committee will be providing their final update to us on, at our last meeting in June, on June 27th. We're going to schedule that. Their appointments end in June, so this will be their final meeting unless they get reappointed, which we can discuss that at an upcoming meeting. And next we have, any other meeting updates from anybody else? Dana, do you have any veterans updates?
No. We've worked really hard with the veterans, Essex vets totally appreciate the budget that was approved, and it allowed us to put a second person, well, she's always had a second person helping her out, but it was not a full-time position, and now it will be a full-time position now, you know, through the efforts of all the 6 towns. So when someone calls there now, like on Fridays, if Karen had to go out, there was nobody in the office, now there'll be somebody in the office to answer the phone and help people out. And
Okay, great. Any other, Jeff, do you have a meeting update?
It's just kind of a public announcement, but it's kind of information that shocked me. I was up visiting Greg Moore today at UNH, which is one of the primordial people that implemented or helped plant when the sand went up on Reservation Terrace. And he has part of a grant that flies the drone and studies how much erosion has occurred to that platform. And the erosion, which I would have figured to be a lot, it's worth taking a trip down, is minimal on the outside edge towards the river, and there's been a sand buildup along where the old spur used to be. So that doesn't mean one good storm's not gonna take it away, but I don't think anyone expected it to stay almost intact this long.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's like, no one really understands why. Maybe because the bar, in the 70s when they did it, the bar went parallel to the beach, and that probably provided relief to Reservation Terrace. This new bar is almost going out towards the channel, so maybe it's stopping some of the erosion. I don't know. I have no one has any solution. Steve, have you been down there at all?
No, I haven't.
Take a trip. Yeah.
Tourism.
Yeah, all right, but I guess, I don't know if I can answer you, Fred, but, you know, so.
Fred?
Yeah, I've been there.
What
shocked me was that sand is so low on a high run of tide, it still comes right up to Reservation
over.
Terrace.
Now, why wouldn't that erode? It
Yeah.
comes, but that's where that was the way it was, you know, designed to be, and you would think it would take the sand back out, but it hasn't.
But nothing's gonna grow there.
No, nothing will grow there, so. Shellfish.
I can add to that. I was at the meeting down at Plum Island. I totally forgot about it. And they talked a lot about what UNH does. They literally photograph the thing daily.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening with the spur is when the tide comes in, it creates an eddy around that spur, which is depositing the sand on the backside of that spur,
which is the opposite of what people expect.
Right. But the other issue that Newburyport is having is with, I guess, the old Coast Guard station, the steel and it's really dangerous down there for kids to be playing in that area.
Nothing to do with the old Coast Guard station.
Well, yeah, I understand it. It's I don't know if it was the towers or something or what it was, but
fish plant.
The fish plant.
Fish plant.
So I have a meeting update. I attended the Fiscal Policy Committee of the MMA, and revenues in the Commonwealth for the month of April were down $2 billion over 2022 at the state level. It's down 31% for the state collections. in April. In mid-May, they did go up by 12%, so the numbers in mid-May did go up 12% over what was collected in 2022. So there's some rebound, but the state is still in a bit of a turmoil about what they're gonna do with all their money, and nobody knows. So that's what happened with that. Is there a review of and approve of meeting minutes?
I have a quick update for veterans. The Council on Aging is having a lunch for veterans, Newbury veterans and their spouses, Thursday at 12 o'clock. Evelyn, thank you very much for helping get that word out. So it's being catered by the Rusty Can, so it's a major magnet for people to come. We have about 45 people already signed up, so if there are any veterans here that haven't signed up, call Cindy, call Kathy, get your name on the list.
Very good.
Awesome.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes. April 11th, 2023, and April 15th, 2023.
Motion to approve both.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to sign warrants?
Motion to sign warrants.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And no executive session, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.